Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today we're going to wire up temporary electrical service to our tiny house remodel. Luckily, I could do a lot of the work over here. It's really warm and muggy outside, and it's supposed to rain on and off all day. So hopefully I can avoid that. All right, I've been gathering stuff up for the last hour and a half, and this is what I came up with. This is going to transmit the power from the pedestal over to the tiny house temporarily. This is a 20 amp extension cord, and that's going to be hooked to this angle plug, which is going to be plugged into this 20 amp GFCI on the pedestal. Right now, there's a 15 amp one there, and it's wired up to a 20 amp breaker, which is incorrect. So I'll take that 15 amp one out, put this one in, connect this to my heavy extension cord, and then we'll plug that in right here. On the other end, we're going to have a metal box with a 20 amp outlet in there and this cover. The other end of the extension cord is just going to run through the bottom of the box, and then I'm going to run a 12 gauge wire out of there and to one of these tiny little panels here, and I'll have two breakers. That's the only electricity we need in there. That'll just power some lights, for the most part just lights, and an outlet for charging batteries. Back on the outside, I'll be using this outlet for my miter saw and any other tools that require a plug-in while we're working on the further addition. It may sound complicated, but really it's not. First thing to do is get this wired on, and then we'll wire the other end into this box and to this outlet. We got to do this at the pedestal. All right, let's just start with this and you'll see what I mean. This is a real high quality extension cord. I forget what happened to it. We got this on sale right after the 4th of July, probably 5 years ago. And we've had one of these outside for that entire time, and it's still going strong. So this one will definitely last as long as we need it over there. Then we'll take it back apart and put it in storage until we need it again for something. Nice 12 gauge cord. Okay, see how long of a lead we need. The reason we don't hook up the service entrance right away is that we're getting a trench dug, and he's not going to be doing that for, I don't know, could be 3 weeks, could be a month, and we have a lot of work to do in the meantime. And my daughter wants to be able to use that upstairs to go and hang out, so she doesn't have to be in the house with us, which is understandable for a 20-year-old. Okay, to guess which one this is going to take. That was it. 10 gauge. This has real heavy insulation on it, so you can't really go by the numbers on here. This is about the easiest plug I've ever wired. The older ones were a total pain in the butt. You had to wrap stranded wire around a terminal. This has a stab in. That's really nice. I'll tighten that up a little bit more in a second. I really like this. What is it? Legrand Industrial. And this is a 20 amp. I would hope that the 15 amp is the same. We need about 5/8 of bare wire. Just twist it up real nice, and then right through the hole. And again, I gotta go get a flat screwdriver to get these tighter. I have what is actually the wrong size. Oh, I got one right here. Never mind. I have the wrong size Phillips for some reason. Okay, and then this goes back into there. Yeah, this is a much better design than the ones I'm used to. Cord clamp goes on nice and easy. Yeah, this is a good design. I'll link to this in the description below. 15 and 20 amp versions. I wonder how the straight one is. All right, that is beautiful. All right, so that'll be under the cover of the outlet on the pedestal, which will be this 20 amp. You can see that it's got the blade for that. That'll go in there like that, and plug in just like that. Now for this end. And I could just plug my saw in over on the pedestal, but it's kind of down, halfway down the side of the hill, and I would need to use an extension cord, and I would rather not go through all that stuff. I'm going to drill out the back of this for 2 screws, and that's how I'm going to attach it to the wall. In its final version, this is going to be an outdoor outlet on that very same little tiny house, so this is going to just move on down the line. But for what we're doing today, we're going to cap off the top and cap off the back, and then this wire will go up in through here, and then we'll have some 12 gauge wire coming out and then going to the box, and this will be outside. The only drill I have over here is a hammer drill. We'll do this from the back. And then when I attach this, put a blob of silicone on that and screw it right through the siding, the T111, right into a stud. And I'll also put a bead of silicone along the top here, not along the sides or the bottom. Well, actually, I might put it along the sides, but if any water gets in there, you want it to be able to drip out of the bottom. And for this temporary setup, I'm just going to put a regular old Romex clamp in the bottom there, and that should do it. And I gotta go get another screw. This was in my scrap box, but I have plenty where that came from. Actually, I think all the rest of this work needs to happen over there at the tiny house build. So we'll go head over there. You can see the high humidity over there on that next ridge right there. It's kind of fuzzy looking from here to there. Okay, this shouldn't take too long. As I said, we have a 15 amp GFCI, and then in here we have a 20 amp breaker, which will turn off. We also have a 50 amp and a 60 amp. The 60 amp goes to the machine shed. The 50 amp goes right here. That was for somebody's camper when the previous owner owned this property. But this is off now, so we'll just swap this out for that one. All right, got that swapped out. What I'm going to do is zip tie this cord to this conduit right here, and that's just going to stay the way it is until we're done. All right, the circuit breaker is still off. We're going to leave it off until we get the other end wired up. Let me go grab some zip ties for this, and then we're done at the pedestal and we can move over to there. These are cheap zip ties. They're kind of stretched to their limit, but that will work just fine. Now we're going to keep this, put a couple of rocks on it. Going to keep it flat to the ground. And remember not to trim in this area. But you can drive over this and stuff. It'll be just fine. So we're going to get it right in there somewhere, and then wire under the building and up through the floor, and then put in our temporary service entrance. All right, now strip about 6 inches off of this. I'm not going to cut any off of the length. I have probably 3 or 4 feet of extra cord, but I'm going to use this again for something. Most likely I'll be using it in the wood shop as a temporary cord for one of the machines. Okay, now I need to pull a wire through to here, and I'll hook that up in here. We'll get the box connected to the wall, and then we'll put this in there. Oh, I gotta get some wire to jump this. Okay, let me go get a few things and we'll be right back to this. And here is my 12 gauge Romex. It is not exterior grade, but that does not matter. It's not even going to be exposed to the elements, but it's only going to be used for about a month maybe, possibly a little longer than that. It all depends on when we can get our trench dug for the final version of the wiring. He's going to dig the trench for the water and the electrical at the same time. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, a little recap of what we did today. I put this 90-degree plug, 20 amp 90-degree plug on this 20 amp extension cord. My 20 amp circuit is turned off right now, but it's tested and it works. So my 20 amp cord comes down here, just lays flat on the ground until it gets over to the corner of the tiny house, and there it goes up into this box, and I have some 12-2 going to the little sub panel in there. I'll be using this right here for my miter saw and some other tools. I'll be working right here. I'll set up a temporary bench on top of this, a sheet of plywood, to make that easier. And then it comes through an existing hole in the floor and up and is connected to my tiny little sub panel box. So what I'm going to do now, I need to get some different breakers for this. I'll get 2 double 15s, but for now I'll double tap this one, the only one I have, and hook up the lights and 3 of the outlets up there. That way Natalie can use that. When she's off of work, she can go read up there and stuff when I'm not working out here. All right, I'm going to wire this up as soon as I have lunch, and that will wrap it up for today. Okay, I found this in my box of takeouts from when I pulled all the electrical out of here, and I'm going to reuse this. Just going to screw it somewhere probably right there. And I'm going to pull a few wires over into here, and then I'm going to jumper this over to this breaker, and that will give us electricity to some of the stuff upstairs. She's not going to be using much electricity up there, at least until winter when she uses the heater. But we'll hook up like 4 of these circuits anyways, just for her convenience. Oops. Alright. How am I going to do this? Alright, I think we'll go right like that. That way we have a knockout open at the bottom. Alright. Now we'll pull that jumper wire in. Show you what I'm doing before I get ahead of myself here. I gotta put a staple right there. So I have my line coming in, and that's hooked up to this breaker only. I'm gonna jumper it over to connect it to another breaker. I don't have that breaker yet, so I'll wait to do that until later. And then I put in a 14-3 wire to bring this over to this box. And one of the wires is not connected. One is connected to this breaker here. So this red one will do nothing for now. Now I need to write what this stuff says a little further up so I can hook up. I think I'm going to hook up 4 circuits to this single 15 amp circuit. That should be just fine until we hook up the panel. They're never going to use more than that, and if they do, they'll trip the breaker. So let's hook up 4 of these, and then when I get that other breaker, I'll hook up 2 more and an outlet here. Alright, sorry I couldn't record most of this, but it's getting late and it's getting dark out because we have a storm coming. So I had to rush this. But basically, we just have the one wire coming in, and that goes to this breaker, and then it comes from the breaker over to here, and it's split up into 4 circuits. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's turn that on. See how it does. Just a little while ago, you could see rain over that way. I don't know if that's rain or not. Oh, it's raining right here. I just got rained on. You could see the rain on the pedestal here. All right. Turn that on. So our outside 2 outlets should be working. I have a tester in there, but we could just use the lights. Bet my breaker's off. Yep. Breaker is on. Bada bing, bada boom. We have lights. And those lights are, oh, I don't even know what you call them. Smart lights. They're voice activated. So as soon as my daughter gets that set up, she's just going to put that switch on, and she can change colors and dim them and all that just by saying the command. Okay, I'm going to put the covers on this, and that'll wrap it up for today. Like I said, I'm going to put another breaker in here, and I'm going to put an outlet down here so that I can use that to work in here. And I'll probably use it to put lights up as well, but I don't want to get too crazy with this stuff. I just want decent temporary electric in here, and this will do it nicely. I have no idea if I'm going to connect these last circuits or not. I probably won't. I'll probably wait until we put the main panel in here. But I will put another breaker in here and put a box down there, and we'll use that for electricity in here while we're working. Yeah, it's raining pretty good now. Just need to test these. That's going to be hard to get in there. We have 2 amber lights, which means that it's correct. Right on the bottom there. Correct. So everything is good to go. Yeah, that wire, we had one going from the outlet there over to the heated water, and that thing's been there for what, 4 or 5 years, and it still works. So this should be able to handle a little bit of construction traffic over the top of it until we get that addition put on. And then we'll be taking this out and hardwiring a permanent outlet to the permanent service panel inside here. So tomorrow, first thing I'm going to do is clear off this wall, get everything moved over here, get everything nice and organized. Then I got to go outside and take the stuff off the walls. There's gutters and all that stuff on here. All that has to come off. I'll let you know why it's there. There's some interesting stories there. Then we're going to take off this skin and put the new skin on. I'm not sure that I can get that done in one day. It'll probably take 2, but once that's done, we're going to move on to this front wall, which needs a complete reframing, and it's going to have that single door in it. So if you want to see that stuff, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.